Let us move to the Big Ten because this is interesting. Mike Locksley, Maryland. If Locksley has a good year this year, he's fine. The way the Locksley's contract works is they set it up after 2023, where if he won more than 7 games, or in 2022, if he won more than 7 games, it would roll over. He'd get an extra year on it. So in 2023, they go 8-4. He gets signed. That pushes his contract to 2028. They went 4-8 last year. So now it's about a $12 million buyout if things don't go well this year. That is, it's not ideal, but they're a Big Ten school in the year of our Lord 2025. Mm-hmm. They can afford that. So Mike Locksley, you got to win. Like that is, you are under the same, probably similar pressure to Brett
Key. Mike Locksley. Like that's the thing that's so interesting. It's like, I mean, I don't know in terms of perceived superpowers. Like I think in theory, Maryland could be awesome, right? Like if Mike Locksley,
but he's been there a long time and they've never truly unlocked the DMV. So, they've gotten the occasional really good player from the DMV, and they
had like a 4-year run where they got a 5-star to like flip on signing day. Like every year. The problem with Maryland has been that they've been unable to retain those players. They come and then they leave quickly.
In this particular case, they lost their quarterback to Wisconsin. So like, you are just going to have to deal with this.
Under Armour money and stuff, don't they? Like, don't they have like that connection to Under Armour? They're in the DMV. Like, they got cool uniforms to some people. I think they're hideous. I don't know, like what, but like, it's still cool if you're from Maryland. Like, that's a really prideful uniform. So, like, I've always thought that they should be at least better than
the sales pitch for Locksley when he got the job is he will get the good players from this area to stay here and play here, and it's not going to be a superpower, but it is going to be every once in a while some of these 5 stars will gel together and you will have a special season. Yeah. They've had some pretty good ones. They've had a couple of 8-win seasons, but I think he probably is going to have another 7-8 win season to make this thing work. So we'll see where that goes. I don't think it has to be perfect. I think in the new Big Ten, it's going to be hard to win. You're going to take more losses. So we'll see about that one.
Too expensive to fire.
I've got 2 in the too expensive to fire list in the Big Ten. I want you to, one, I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with me on. Lincoln Riley, USC.
My understanding is that he had a 10-year guaranteed contract.
Yes.
I mean, like, I know it wasn't public information. I know people have reported it, but like also too, if you're just a person in the room, but given where he came from and when he did, like during the Mel Tucker hype, like there's no way he didn't.
Talking to people in the agent community, they all seem to believe that this is a fully guaranteed deal. That
how could it not be?
Yeah, right.
Considering the timing of it,
so
and where he came from.
3 years in, he's going into year 4. This is year 4. So we are talking about an ungodly amount of money if you wanted to move on from Lincoln Riley.
But he has probably been unsuccessful enough there where it's a rational thought to be like, if they stink this year, you're out.
Right. It's a new AD. But the thing is, so we're talking about Jimbo Fisher type money. Jimbo Fisher got $77 million when he was fired at Texas A&M. I can't imagine USC spending that.
No, I don't think they will. He is too expensive to. But I'm saying from a merit standpoint, he's already gotten to the place where hot seat is rational.
If he were 6-6 again this year in the regular season and had a quote unquote normal contract, and by normal, I mean a buyout under $30 million, he would be getting fired for that.
No question. And I think it's completely rational to question. Like, I mean, it's like there's USC people out there that are like mad at us. And it's like, there's like nothing about the team right now. It's not even the losses, man. There's nothing to get excited about. I guess if you think Hassan Longstreet's going to come as a freshman and light it up. Well, they have the really great quarterback coming in that, like, I mean, it was Malachi Nelson at first. And then, I mean, how many times?
They went 7-5 with Caleb Williams.
I know. I just, like, I don't even know, like, what are you holding on to?
Well, and that's the thing. I think there's some USC fans still holding on, thinking that they'll get this fixed. I think there's some USC fans that are out, but they just don't know how does it end, because it's not like some NFL team's going to swoop in and save you.
Like, I mean, do you actually feel like there's a potential uptick here, or are you out?
I'm not out, because it's the same thing I've said about Lincoln Riley all along. He's too young and too smart to let it in this way, to let it go this way. I just cannot fathom.
It keeps getting worse.
I know, but I can't fathom that he doesn't figure it out, because, like, I met this guy when he was 29, 30 years old. He was the OC at East Carolina. Like, he's so smart. So I can't picture it. And they were close in a lot of their losses last year. It wasn't like they were getting blown off the field. They were close against Penn State. That was an overtime game. I know what you're saying. You're about to make a Scott Frost comparison.
I just don't give a shit if it's close.
I know. I get it. You are what your record says you are. But it's very hard for me to see him and see what he did so early as a head coach, because I don't think all of it was because Bob Stoops set him up for success, even though some of it was.
Well, it's the first 2 years, maybe, but then he was there for a while.
Right.
So, yeah.
So it's hard. It's just I don't want to give up on it yet.
The problem with me and Lincoln Riley is that I can't get out of my head what I thought they were going to be.
And you're gonna have to let that go, because they're not.
But that's the scale to which I'm judging him by.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's ever going to happen.
So, like, what's success? So you're like, so let's neg the program down, and what do you think it should be then? 9-3.
I don't know, but that's I get it, because you're USC. You're not that far removed from Pete Carroll dominating the entire sport
during that time.
Yeah,
so like my whole idea of USC is,
I know
it's juggernaut,
and that's the thing. That's what makes this situation so frustrating, I think, for the fans whose teams are in it. Because there is nothing you can do. Because you can hope and hope and hope, and there's nothing you can do about it.
The second you accept that you're a 9-3 program, you become one.
At best, you're talking about a ceiling.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if 9-3 is good enough,
right?
You should be outraged by 9-3, let alone 6-6 if you're US. I mean,
right.
Come on, fight on. Like, that's the. It was the coolest program.
How do you fight on when they're not going to pay the money and nothing's going to change?
You're trapped. But I also understand, too, of all the coaching contracts that were offered, like, I thought that was a really good money spent. I'm not
criticizing the contract.
That was a good contract.
Yep, I will not criticize that contract, because that is how you had to get him from Oklahoma. What he had done at Oklahoma suggested that you're going to get what you want, and it just didn't happen.
It's just, and I don't know that it will.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, too, I don't think that USC, as a result of not getting what they want out of Lincoln Riley, should negotiate who they think they should be either. Because when you make that contract, Andy, what are you making it for? Because you're making that contract, that offer, you're luring him from Oklahoma because you want your program to realize its ceiling, which isn't 9-3.
Yeah.
It's 12-0.
You're doing it to win national titles.
Well, year one was their who they are, not whatever this is.
Year one may have been the ceiling of who they are.
I mean, I don't.
That's a scary thought.
No, they're one half away from making the playoff, the 14 field in year one.
Some saucy nugs, like you've had Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce, but have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy and spicy nugs. Take the nugs you already love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like garlic, parmesan, honey barbecue, buffalo, and of course the spicy variations of all three. Or if you're a real heat seeker, try the spicy ghost pepper. I dare you, only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and prepare to nug like you have never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's.
Oh my God, it's almost 2:00 and we have not eaten lunch yet.
It's almost spicy nugs time. All right. I want to lay this scenario out for you. This is another Big Ten coach. I have him in the too expensive to fire category. I want you to tell me if that's true or not. So Luke Fickell is 13-13 in 2 seasons at Wisconsin. It does not seem like it is going well from a personnel standpoint. It doesn't seem like they've upgraded the roster in the way that you would need to upgrade the roster to be competitive in this Big Ten. He is signed through March 2031.
It's electric.
A firing after this season, probably you're talking about $33 million. Now, he has offset language in his contract. So if he went and got another job, then the money the other school or other, if he goes to the NFL, the other team pays, comes out of the buyout. That said, are you willing to commit to that level of money with no guarantee that he's going to go get another job immediately?
I also, too, think that, like, with coaching moves, Andy, like, you're also married to, like, the idea of a person still.
Mm-hmm.
And by firing him, you have to give up on the dream of what that hire promised. Because if you remember, we were at the Athletic when they fired Paul Chryst.
I was so excited about the Luke Fickell hire because, and I said this multiple times, and I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. Maybe Luke Fickell can prove me right eventually, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be wrong. I said this means Wisconsin is serious.
Yeah,
this means Wisconsin plans to try to compete to win the Big Ten, not the Big Ten West.
So, like, if you're going to ask me, do you think he's too expensive to hire? Like, I'm not
too expensive to fire. Yeah.
Sorry, too expensive to fire. I'm not like intimately familiar with their balance sheet.
But they're in the Big Ten. They have a lot of money.
Wisconsin has surprised us before with the behavior.
Yes, but the Paul Chryst firing that you just mentioned, Paul Chryst is such a nice guy that when they fired him, He's like, I realize you owe me this much, but just shave a couple million off that. That's fine.
That's electric.
I mean,
I would not be like.
I would never do that. I don't know that Luke Fickell would do that either.
No, I know, but like also too, when they fired him, how they fired him, who they replaced him with, it because like Luke Fickell was a home run.
Yeah, and the problem is like, so Paul Chryst took over a program that was routinely double-digit wins, kept them at double-digit wins for a little bit, then they dropped to slightly above average, then they dropped to average. And when he was fired, they were average.
Now they're average.
They're still average, and it's year 3. Luke Fickell has to turn this around.
I don't know that I'm 1,000% like there's no way he could be fired. If they have a bad year, like I think it's possible. But I think he probably gets 2 more years.
It's so much money. And it's a program I can't imagine spending that. But they
imagine firing them.
They surprised me when they fired Paul Chryst too. But yeah, it's just a strange situation.